Tommy, one of the great talents that we have. Just a great friend.
October 2016. All of Hollywood was shaken. Tommy Ford, the fifth soul of the legendary sitcom Martin, passed away forever at the age of 52. A gentle man who always brought laughter to millions of viewers suddenly collapsed due to an aortic aneurysm. The funeral in Atlanta was filled with tears. Everyone thought it would be the most beautiful reunion of the cast. But then something unbelievable happened at the public memorial open to the entire community. Not a single star who had stood beside him for 5 years showed up. All of America was stunned. Was it just a coincidence, or was there untold drama lurking beneath the surface? This is not just a story about a funeral, but a panoramic portrait of friendship conflict and the legacy of a classic sitcom. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to uncover this secret with us. Tommy Ford, the mysterious man. Behind the endless laughter. There are actors who don't need flashy lead roles, grandiose scenes, or complex scripts. Just a simple presence is enough to leave a lasting impression on both audiences and colleagues. Tommy Ford was exactly that kind of person. He never sought the spotlight, never made headlines, yet became an indispensable part of the legendary sitcom Martin, a show that brought African-American culture to television screens in the 1990s. And it was precisely that quietness, that gentleness that made his death in 2016 such a shock. No one could believe that the happiest man on set had left the world at 52 too early and too suddenly. But to understand why Tommy Ford's name is still remembered today, we must trace back the path of his life. Thomas Mickle Ford was born on September 5, 1964, in Los Angeles, California. Coming from an ordinary family, Ford had a passion for the arts from an early age. He studied at the University of Southern California, where he earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater. Not many people know that even in his 20s, Ford was already committed to forging his own path. He didn't want to be a typical leading man movie star, but a character builder playing supporting roles that gave depth and soul to the story. This choice led to a career spanning 3 decades with over 50 roles both on television and in film. The most important milestone in his life undoubtedly came in 1992, when he was cast as Tommy Strawn in the sitcom Martin. Over 5 seasons and 132 episodes, the character of Tommy became the fifth soul of the friend group led by Martin Lawrence. The iconic line, "Tommy ain't got no job," became a meme known across America, still used for laughs on social media 2 decades later. Yet what kept Tommy Strawn alive in the hearts of viewers wasn't just the unemployment joke. It was Ford's portrayal of a man who was always classy, intelligent, and often the voice of reason during the chaotic quarrels of Martin, Pam, or Cole that stood out. Many fans said that without Tommy, Martin would be a whirlwind of chaotic laughter, but with him the show became whole, humane, and relatable. Outside of Martin, Ford made his mark in film with supporting roles in Harlem Nights 1989, which featured Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, and Across the Tracks 1990. In 1998-1999, he played a police officer in the series New York Undercover, showcasing his versatility in switching from comedy to drama. Altogether, Ford appeared in more than 20 films and dozens of television series. Still, no role ever surpassed the towering presence of Tommy Strawn, and Ford never complained. In an interview, he once said, "If people remember me as Tommy, it means I did my job well." What's rarely mentioned is that beyond the arts, Tommy Ford was passionate about social work. He founded the Through My Lens ATL project, an educational film program in Atlanta that helped teenagers learn to tell stories through visual media. Each year, hundreds of Black youth were mentored by him on screenwriting, cinematography, and editing, helping them find creative pathways out of poverty and violence. At his memorial in November 2016, many students wept as they shared how Ford changed their lives. One said, "Uncle Tommy taught me that the lens isn't just for filming, it's for seeing a fairer world." To his friends and colleagues, Ford was like an older brother. Martin Lawrence wrote on Instagram after his death, "Tommy was not just a great co-star, but also a close friend. I'm heartbroken the world lost such a huge talent." Tachina Arnold, who played Pam, shared a photo of Ford's beaming smile with the caption, "You will never be forgotten." Carl Anthony Payne II, who played Cole in the sitcom, choked up, "You were my brother, my teacher. Rest in peace, Tommy." These tributes painted the portrait of a kind man who radiated positive energy. All told, Ford's career spanned nearly 30 years with dozens of roles in television and film, alongside numerous community projects. He appeared in more than 132 episodes of Martin, 22 episodes of New York Undercover, and over 15 films of various sizes. But the immeasurable number is the thousands of students he mentored in Atlanta, those who found hope and new directions under his guidance. An interesting fact: throughout his life, Tommy Ford never won a major award like an Emmy or Golden Globe. Yet after his death, fans created the hashtag #RipTommyFord, which garnered over 200,000 posts in just 1 week, turning his name into a global trend. That too was a kind of award few ever received: the award of public love. Looking back at the life and career of Tommy Ford, it becomes clear that his power didn't lie in fame, but in his ability to make people feel lighthearted and warm. He never needed to boast, never needed center stage, yet still left a profound mark in the history of American sitcoms. The sudden death and funeral context of Tommy Ford. October 12, 2016, an ordinary afternoon in Atlanta. But for the American entertainment world, it marked an unforgettable moment. Thomas Michael Ford, the familiar friend of millions of viewers through the sitcom, Martin, passed away suddenly at the age of 52. The news spread quickly, but at first many couldn't believe it. Just days earlier, Ford had appeared radiant at a community event, still wearing his warm and gentle smile. No one imagined that an abdominal aortic aneurysm, a silent and hard-to-detect condition, could claim his life so swiftly. According to hospital records, Ford was admitted on October 9th after complaining of severe abdominal and chest pain. Doctors diagnosed him with an abdominal aortic aneurysm, a dangerous condition, but still operable if stabilized. At the time, his family issued a statement to reassure fans and asked for prayers. But just 3 days later, on the afternoon of October 12th, the aneurysm ruptured. All attempts to resuscitate him failed. He passed away in the arms of his loved ones, leaving his family, colleagues, and the public in shock. American media quickly published the sad news. CNN reported actor Tommy Ford from the sitcom Martin dies at 52. The Los Angeles Times revisited his 3-decade career, and people reposted warm photos of Ford, along with the caption, "How can you forget a friend like that?" Within just 24 hours, the hashtag #RipTommyFord appeared over 200,000 times on Twitter, becoming a global trend. Fans across the U.S. shared favorite clips from Martin, especially the iconic line, "Tommy ain't got no job," as a way to bid him farewell through laughter, the greatest gift he left behind. For his colleagues, the loss was a true shock. Martin Lawrence, his closest co-star, wrote on Instagram, "Tommy was not just a great co-star but also a close friend. I'm heartbroken the world lost such a huge talent." Tachina Arnold, who played Pam, posted a photo of Ford's bright smile with the caption, "You will never be forgotten." Carl Anthony Payne II. Cole in the sitcom wrote tearfully, "You were my brother, my teacher. Rest in peace, Tommy." Even Tisha Campbell, who had long-standing tensions with Martin Lawrence, couldn't hide her emotion. "Tommy was our light, our calm. My heart is shattered." A week later, the official funeral was held in Atlanta, the city where Ford had spent the last years of his life. The ceremony was simple, yet solemn. Inside the church, hymns echoed amid muffled sobs. Family, friends, and colleagues took turns sharing cherished memories from his early days stepping into the industry to his success with Martin. People remembered Ford as someone who always brought laughter and served as a pillar of emotional support to those around him. An old friend said with emotion, "Tommy was always the first to light up the room and the last to leave after making sure everyone was okay." In that moment, Ford's image came into sharp focus. An artist who lived through laughter passed away in tears, but left behind boundless love. Not long after, Ford's family and the Atlanta community organized a public memorial on November 5, 2016, at the Porter Sanford Performing Arts Center in Decatur. In contrast to the private funeral, this event welcomed hundreds of people to come and share their grief. The auditorium overflowed with music, prayers, and stories about Ford. Singer Angie Stone performed a tribute song, and comedian Rodney Perry brought heartfelt memories. They came not only to mourn, but also to celebrate a man who had left a lasting mark on popular culture. A highlight of the ceremony was the remembrance of Ford's community contributions, particularly the Through My Lens ATL project. This was an educational initiative he founded to teach teenagers how to write scripts, handle cameras, and tell their own stories. Many of Ford's students took the stage to share their experiences. One teary-eyed teenager said, "Uncle Tommy taught me that the lens isn't just for filming, it's for seeing the world more fairly." His words hushed the entire room before it erupted into long applause, an affirmation that Ford's legacy wasn't just on screen, but in the lives he touched. Both the official funeral and the public memorial, though different in tone, shared one thing in common. They portrayed a complete picture of Tommy Ford, a beloved artist on screen and a deeply respected figure in real life. If the funeral was a private moment for loved ones to say goodbye, then the memorial was proof that the community saw him as a symbol of kindness and inspiration. And in both places, amid tears or in song, the name Tommy Ford echoed forever alive in the memories of those who loved him. Explaining the cast's absence from Tommy Ford's memorial. The public memorial for Tommy Ford at the Porter Sanford Center, held on November 5, 2016, became a beautiful highlight for the Atlanta community. Hundreds gathered, local artists performed, and memories were shared about a gentle, kind-hearted performer. However, the absence of the main cast of the sitcom, Martin, sparked widespread speculation. In the minds of fans, Martin Lawrence, Tisha Campbell, Tichina Arnold, and Carl Payne had stood beside Ford for 5 full years. When they didn't appear at the memorial, one question immediately surfaced: why? The first thing to emphasize is that there was never any official statement from the cast about refusing to attend. None of them said they didn't want to come, and no verified sources confirmed that they turned their backs on the event. Reports covering the memorial simply listed those who were present without attributing any opposition to the Martin cast. So the public belief that they refused to attend was more of an interpretation than a confirmed truth. One straightforward possibility is scheduling. In late 2016, each cast member was involved in separate projects. Martin Lawrence had returned to stand-up comedy. Tisha Campbell was busy with television productions, and Tichina Arnold was starring in a new sitcom. The public memorial was held less than 3 weeks after the private funeral, so it's possible they couldn't arrange to return to Atlanta again. The format of the event may have also been a factor. The public ceremony required prior registration and had limited seating, and it seemed Ford's family prioritized access for the local community. This might have made it difficult for some colleagues from out of town to attend. However, viewed in historical context, the absence called to mind past tensions within the Martin cast. In 1997, Tisha Campbell filed a lawsuit against Martin Lawrence for sexual harassment on set. She accused him of inappropriate comments and behavior during the final season's production. The resulting tension led Campbell to leave the show before its finale, returning only for the last episode after reaching a settlement. The lawsuit caused a media firestorm, not just because it disrupted a hit sitcom, but because it highlighted deeper issues of power and gender inequality in Hollywood. Beyond the lawsuit, behind-the-scenes sources revealed that the final season of Martin was riddled with conflicts. Disputes over scripts, screen time, and even pay reportedly strained relationships among the cast. The production even had to film scenes with Campbell and Lawrence separately, underscoring the seriousness of the discord. Therefore, when the cast didn't attend Ford's public memorial, it was easy for many to connect the dots. Past discord had led to present-day distance. Still, there is no conclusive evidence that their absence from the memorial was due to unresolved conflicts. In fact, the official funeral weeks earlier had seen the cast come together to bid Ford farewell, showing they were willing to put the past aside in a meaningful moment. On social media, they also posted tributes and heartfelt messages, demonstrating that their affection for Ford had not faded. If lingering animosity had truly existed, such public expressions of grief would have been unlikely. From another perspective, their absence may simply reflect personal choices in how one grieves. Some choose to mourn in public, others in private. For someone like Ford, who always valued sincerity, he likely would not have resented his colleagues for not attending a memorial so long as they kept him in their hearts. And the truth is, they did. A few years later, when the Martin cast reunited for the show's 30th anniversary special, they remembered Ford together as an irreplaceable part of that family. In other words, the absence at the 2016 public memorial should not be seen as evidence of division, but rather a gap that the public interpreted in many ways. The only certainty is that Tommy Ford was deeply loved and mourned, both in the intimacy of the funeral and the collective embrace of the memorial. And in both spaces, he was remembered as a kind friend, an artist devoted to laughter, and a mentor to the next generation. A larger drama within the entertainment industry. To fully understand the story surrounding Tommy Ford's funeral and public memorial, one must look beyond the surface and examine the broader landscape of the American entertainment industry, particularly what happened behind the scenes of the sitcom Martin. The absence of the main cast at Ford's public memorial came without any official statements, but the memory of past backstage drama laid the foundation for public speculation, suspicion, and narrative embellishment. Martin aired from 1992 to 1997 and became one of the most successful shows on the Fox network. Over 5 seasons and 132 episodes, the sitcom not only delivered laughter, but also reflected the cultural life of African Americans in the early 1990s. Yet behind the spotlight was a tense atmosphere. In 1997, Tisha Campbell, who played Gina, filed a lawsuit against Martin Lawrence, accusing him of sexual harassment and coercive behavior on set. The lawsuit was a major shock. Not only was Lawrence the face of the show, but Campbell was a central figure deeply tied to the show's romantic storyline. The legal battle led to Campbell's near-complete absence in Season 5, and she only returned for the final episode after an out-of-court settlement. The lawsuit highlighted two of Hollywood's most enduring issues: gendered power dynamics and coerced silence. In the 1990s, long before the Me Too movement existed, many actresses had to choose between speaking out and preserving their careers. Campbell chose to speak out, and that decision carved a line in the hearts of fans. From that point forward, every move by her and Martin Lawrence was scrutinized through the lens of, is there still bad blood? This memory made it easy for the public to associate the cast's absence from the memorial with unresolved tensions, even in the absence of direct evidence. Beyond the lawsuit, various behind-the-scenes sources revealed tensions among other cast members as well. Carl Anthony Payne II once said in an interview that the producers were more focused on completing the 100-episode threshold for syndication than resolving personal conflicts between the actors. He described Martin's final season as a mess where cast members had to film their scenes separately to avoid confrontations. It showed that while audiences saw only laughter on screen, the set was filled with pressure, conflict, and unhealed wounds. When Martin is compared to other sitcoms of its era, it reveals an imbalance in how Hollywood treated black-centered shows. While Friends NBC 1994-2004 received massive marketing record-breaking salaries for the cast and global recognition, Martin and other black-led sitcoms like Living Single were often undervalued and overlooked by mainstream media. Critics have argued that the disparity wasn't just about ad revenue, but also a form of systemic bias. White sitcoms were favored while black sitcoms were relegated to niche markets. This disparity directly affected cast compensation, reunion opportunities, and how the public perceived the show's legacy. It's worth noting that Living Single, which aired around the same time as Friends, had a nearly identical structure, a group of young friends navigating love, work, and friendship in the city. But while Friends was promoted as a global phenomenon, Living Single, despite deep affection from the black community, remained mostly confined within that demographic. This inequity left many Martin and Living Single fans feeling overlooked, that their cultural contributions were either ignored or not properly respected. Within this context, the limited coverage of Tommy Ford's public memorial and the cast's absence becoming a side story rather than the main event reflects that same unequal treatment. It's important to remember that throughout their careers, Martin Lawrence and his co-stars have often been the subject of rift rumors only to reunite on special occasions. In 2022, the surviving Martin cast reunited for the show's 30th anniversary. Together, they reminisced, cried over Ford's absence, and made it clear the past had been laid to rest. Tisha Campbell even said, "We've grown, and we're here today to honor Tommy." That moment showed that while the past drama was real, it wasn't strong enough to prevent healing after all those years. Looking more broadly, the story of Tommy Ford's funeral and memorial isn't just about whether the cast attended it, reflects how the entertainment industry processes collective memory. If a Friends cast member were to pass away, global media would likely follow every detail of the memorial. But for Martin, a show equally influential in black communities, remembrance events often appear only in local news or regional outlets. That's not just a difference in popularity, but a symptom of long-standing power imbalances in Hollywood. To be fair, none of the Martin cast ever denied their affection for Tommy Ford. They may not have been present at a single event, but their tributes, shared memories, and eventual reunion all proved that their friendship endured. The only flaw may be how the public and media perceive them, always expecting perfect unity, forgetting that behind the spotlight, actors are people too, with schedules, choices, and personal wounds. And it's that gap between expectation and reality that has created a drama larger than any rumor. The lives of the main cast. After Ford's passing. After the sudden death of Tommy Ford, the lives and careers of his co-stars from the sitcom, Martin entered a new chapter. They were no longer the youthful faces of the 1990s, but mature artists, carrying with them both fond memories and deep, lingering fractures. Each went their own way, yet in every reunion, Tommy Ford's name was spoken with reverence and affection. Martin Lawrence, the soul of the sitcom, has remained one of America's biggest comedy stars. After 2016, he continued his nationwide stand-up tour, drawing tens of thousands of fans at every stop. On the big screen, Martin made a strong comeback with Bad Boys for Life in 2020, the third installment of the hit action franchise, which grossed over $426 million worldwide. His net worth is estimated at around $120 million, with a Beverly Hills mansion and a luxury car collection that includes Ferraris, Rolls-Royces, and Porsches. His personal life has been turbulent with 2 divorces, but he maintains a close relationship with his daughters. In interviews, Martin often mentions Ford. During the Martin the Reunion special in 2022, he choked up, "Without Tommy, we're not complete." We're here today to honor him. Tisha Campbell, who played Gina, continued to pursue her career despite personal turmoil. After 2016, she appeared in numerous television shows from Dr. Ken to Empire. Although no longer landing lead roles in major productions, she remains a familiar face on the small screen. In her personal life, Tisha finalized her second divorce in 2020, ending a nearly 22-year marriage to actor Dwayne Martin. Despite it all, she stays optimistic, frequently posting singing and dancing videos on social media. Her net worth, while not as large as Martin Lawrence's, is estimated in the low millions, and she still holds a meaningful place in the entertainment world. During the 2022 reunion, Tisha broke into tears when talking about Ford. "He was the balance of our group. He always reminded us that beyond the screen we had real lives worth cherishing." Tichina Arnold, who portrayed Pam, has had the most stable television career post-Martin. She found success with the sitcom Everybody Hates Chris in the 2000s and has starred in The Neighborhood on CBS since 2018, one of the network's top-rated comedies, airing through 2025. In addition to acting, Tichina participates in reality shows and charity events. Her net worth is estimated at around $5 million, primarily from long-term television work. In her 50s, she is still highly regarded for her youthful energy and bold personality. At the 30th anniversary celebration, Tichina said, "When we talk about Martin, we never forget Tommy. He was our fifth soul, and his absence today is what makes our hearts ache." Carl Anthony Payne, too, who played Cole, has had a quieter career compared to his peers. After Martin, he appeared in various independent television and film projects from The Parkers to Blackish. He has also explored directing and producing, though without breakout success. His estimated net worth is in the low millions, but Carl remains beloved among fans for his down-to-earth nature. He frequently attends conventions and black cultural festivals where audiences still affectionately call him Cole. When asked about Tommy Ford, Carl said simply but emotionally, "He wasn't just a co-star, he was family." What unites them all is that every reunion includes Ford, the Martin. The reunion special in 2022 on BET Plus was the clearest example. On stage, the 3 remaining stars sat side by side with a large photo of Ford behind them. They shared behind-the-scenes stories, on-set jokes, and the struggles they endured. The atmosphere was filled with laughter, but also tears. When the host asked if Tommy were here, what would he say? The group burst into laughter. He'd say, "I still ain't got no job." That response, both funny and bittersweet, encapsulated Ford's legacy, a character whose occupation was never revealed yet, who became a cultural icon. Beyond the reunion, each cast member has remembered Ford in their own way. When Martin Lawrence received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2023, he dedicated it with a tribute. "Tommy, I know you're watching from heaven. This star belongs to you too." In a 2024 interview, Tisha Campbell said that every time she works on a new sitcom, she thinks of Tommy's calmness and wisdom. Tichina Arnold has stayed in touch with Ford's family, occasionally taking part in community events they organize. Looking back nearly a decade after Tommy Ford's passing, the Martin cast has each taken their own path, some achieving great success in Hollywood, others steadily working in television, and a few remaining connected to smaller projects. But they all share one thing in common. Tommy Ford is never forgotten. He appears in their stories, in their laughter, and in their tears. That remembrance, whether public or private, has transformed Ford from a lovable supporting character into an enduring symbol of friendship, memory, and the belief that laughter can unite people beyond death. The passing of Tommy Ford in 2016 not only marked the end of an artist's life, but also left a void in the hearts of friends, colleagues, and audiences. Through his role as Tommy Strawn in the sitcom Martin, he proved that even a supporting character can become a cultural icon simply through sincere laughter and genuine warmth. The legacy Tommy Ford left behind is the belief that laughter has the power to connect people, and that kindness can outlast any spotlight. He is gone, but the question remains after all the fame and glory, what is it that makes us truly unforgettable? For Ford, the answer is clear. It's the warmth, the laughter, and the lives he touched. If the story of Tommy Ford's life and legacy has resonated with you, don't forget to leave a comment below to share your thoughts. Hit like to support the production team, and be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos.